on a Monday morning. So you can kind of put yourself in somewhere. I suspect most of you guys only care about what you sold on Monday, which is fine because I'm going to kind of talk about that stuff, talk about the products that way. I think the thing though, you have to understand if you're using a digital agency, there's an Australian term that if all you've got is a hammer, everything's a nail. And if you're a search agency, all you want to do is spend money on search. And that's your kind of, and these people are very young and they're very inexperienced. They really haven't worked in any other industry. They haven't actually had to earn a buck off the world. They just work for somebody. And so you've got to put that into your mindset when you're dealing with agencies. Is a lot of the time you're dealing with somebody that knows a stack about search but nothing about travel. And so you have to kind of manage that in the context of their relationship with your business. So,
guys, if it's hard to hear, there's still plenty of seats up front if you want to move forward.
I think everybody knows that marketing's changed and it's never going to be the same again. And I want to talk about the way marketing's changed in context of this framework, because it's quite a useful way of thinking about your own business, where you are. So each one of these blocks can be part of its own discussion. And each one of them has its own complexities, and we could do half a day on each, but we're not. We're going to try and finish all this in 25 minutes maybe. I'm going to start talking about awareness. You've got a business, people have to know you exist. And the first thing I'm going to talk about a little bit is Google. We'll go back to some detail on Google. Google is your supermarket shelf. You wander into the supermarket, you're going to buy a bottle of jar of peanut butter. You go to the shelf. When you look at that shelf, the entire world of peanut butter is what's on that shelf. If your favourite brand is missing or just isn't there, you just move on. You pick something else and you go. So you have to actually think of search as that supermarket shelf. Do you want to be on that shelf or not? And if you don't, that's okay. But if you want to be on that shelf, you have to make sure you're on the shelf when someone's looking for a product like yours, or more specifically yours. You've then got other ways of driving awareness is search and display. Nowadays, search and display is driven off data. It's really easy. Actually, I have to say to you guys, never before in the history of marketing has the world made it so easy for a small business in a highly niche category to reach a market more effectively, more efficiently, with less wastage and a better outcome than ever before. Oh my God, if you're you're running bike tours in Lima in Peru, Facebook and Google do everything you'd ever want to do. Imagine that 10 years ago. You'd have to use a bloody travel magazine, you'd have to go and suck up to the local hotel, you'd have to hope that some, other local businesses spotted you. It's really hard. But now it's so goddamn easy with those two tools, and everything about Google is made to lens the experience for that human being down to that supermarket shelf. Do you want peanut butter or soap powder? That's how Google works. It's really all about lensing up the world based on what you're looking for. So you want people to be aware of your business. It's about paid, it's about search and display, and it's about content. Content's kind of difficult, but it is a really meaningful way of building awareness for your business, because, well, if you do these beautiful bike tours in Lima, Peru, you've got to say something about them and post that content somewhere where someone's likely to see it. But that's where you start. You have to make people aware of your business. Once they're aware of your business, believe me, 2 seconds after they leave the website, they've forgotten you even exist. I did some work with one of the cosmetics companies once, and they were mortified because they watched women searching for lipstick and they'd have 9 browsers open. And they'd go, $7.95, $8.95, $8.95, close that. $9.95, close that. $8.95, close that. These women had no interest in the brand at all. All they were looking for is the lipstick and the price. And it's kind of a mortifying experience, but that's what goes on. People dive in and they're just brutal about it. And when they've spotted your website and they go, geez, that'd be a nice idea. Cycling in Peru or trip down the Grand Canyon, which I did last year. They've forgotten who you are. They've looked at they've had 8 tabs over with 8 different people, all providing 8 different experiences, and they're gone. The thing is, you've got to engage them, and you've given a range of tools to do it. They're really quite good. Social, with Facebook and other social channels. Display advertising, because once someone's been to your website, you can use the Google Display Network to go, hey, remember us, you were looking for a bicycle trip in Lima, Peru. Hey, remember us, you were looking for a Grand Canyon experience. And content. Now you can start to deliver really interesting content to people who actually are interested in your bike trip or your Grand Canyon trip, because we now have that data about them. Google tells us, or people on Facebook, tells us we've now got a person in the market looking for our product. And Google calls those people intenders, by the way, someone who intends to do something in your category. The thing is, you've got to get people from the intend phase to do something. Maybe it's a direct booking. Maybe it's an email subscription, and email's a really effective way of getting people to put their hand up and remember them. Because the other thing you've got to remember is that people are on the web for 2 reasons: to waste time or save time. And most of the time, when they're booking your travel, they're trying to save themselves some time somewhere. And so, tools that you can provide them that help them save time are good to provide. And email's one of those. Oh yeah, I want to go to Grand Canyon there, send me your email about your prices and your specials or whatever it is. And that's a way of driving someone along this journey. And then when we've got them into an email, or maybe we can take them from there to there, but you know, we can get them to do a booking, and then once they've done a booking, you know, this could be 6 months out or it could be a month out, but what you're really trying to do is get that person to go, geez, I'm really looking forward to that trip, I'm really looking forward to that, it's going to be amazing, you know, I want to go. And that's about delivering content that's going to excite them, because if you deliver content that excites them, well then you've got some chance of upselling them to the, you know, meal package or whatever it is, to the side hikes or whatever it is you do, or perhaps sell some partner product. But by exciting them, you've got the chance to upsell them because they now engage with your brand. The next thing you've done, you've had someone, they've been on your surfing lessons or whatever it is, you really want them to go and do a review on that. And actually, look, for all, Google is the one that matters the most, because the reviews in Google impacts a whole lot of things in Google, including where you're served on a page when someone does a search. So worry about your Google reviews. They're quite problematic though too, but you can't leave them. Lots of people, believe it or not, sit at home at night wasting time and posting reviews for products that they've never bought and unlikely to as well. And then ultimately you want people to share it on Facebook if they had a good experience. Their friends might. Now this thing doesn't apply to everyone, but what I'm encouraging you to do is look at this thing as a journey, because I've heard people complaining about this doesn't convert and that doesn't convert yesterday, conversion rates are low. You can't actually look at it that way anymore, because the conversion rates are low, because if you just look at your paid search, how many of those paid search people arrive on your website and go, oh yeah, I want it now, I'm going to buy it now? It just doesn't work like that. And so if you look at your paid search in isolation and you go, why is that not converting? Well, if you're not doing retargeting, you've lost that traffic. But if you are doing retargeting and remarketing, the Google stuff is really there to drive traffic to your brand so that you can retarget and remarket to them in other ways. So it's really important. It's the most effective and efficient way to do that. And for most of you guys here, I spoke to some guys from Switzerland yesterday, and they've got some problems because everyone's bidding on the keywords for the Alps and stuff like that. But if you're a surfing lessons person in Sydney, or a bicycle person in Lima, Peru, or Grand Canyon, there's not many people bidding on those terms. Chances are the only other people bidding are the OTAs, And so to yours to own, it's really not that expensive. So you can actually run really efficient search campaigns and drive traffic that way. Does that all make sense? Am I going too fast? Yeah. Oh God, I didn't intend this to be a sales slide either, but really, the first thing you've got to start is think about is driving traffic to your website. And I'm talking about qualified traffic. I'm not talking about driving honeymooners to a dog safari in Namibia. It's really about relevant traffic to your business, but you've got to get them to your website, because it's the only way you can tag that person with a cookie that allows you to get them back some other way, and you at least know they're shopping and they're in your category, they're coming to your city, and all of the other good things that makes for a travel conversion. You've then got to remind these people that your business has got what they want, and that's about retargeting and remarketing. It's really easy. Facebook, Google, all those things do a really good job because you've got to bring them back. Actually, just about timetables. I saw in a Google study that said people can something starts them looking for travel stuff. Say, my own experience was I saw a movie about the Grand Canyon thing. I thought, geez, that'd be amazing. I started reading Grand Canyon stuff, about the trips, reviews that people had written, more stories that people had written. And it was a year before I even booked. And that was definitely in the waste time component of my internet surfing. That was about enjoyment. I was really trying to see if that was the trip for me. Then I discovered that was a year before. Then I thought I'd book, and I found that those Grand Canyon things sell out, so I had to delay the whole thing another year. So it was quite disappointing, but really I had some activity there. Then I had a frenzy of activity of 40 days finding out who the best person to go with and who I should perhaps do, and should I do the top of the canyon or the bottom of the canyon, all these things. And then I found out I couldn't book, so I had to postpone the thing. But that's a typical cycle. Something kicks it off, and then you spend about 40 days frantically looking for stuff, and then you go on your trip, and then there's a whole pile of opportunity for you guys, depending on the category you're in, for people that are actually on their feet with their mobile phone going, Jesus, what should we do tomorrow? Where should we go tomorrow? Because there's a bunch of tourists like my sister-in-law who will book breakfast, lunch and dinner every day. They know every minute's going to be consumed. Or there are people like my wife and I went to Thailand and had one night at a hotel in Bangkok, and that was it. We made the rest up as we went. And so you've got to remind people that they're there. You then got to help ensure your site converts shoppers to buyers. And someone yesterday was talking about, I think it was the guys from Munich, talking about landing pages. Oh, landing pages important? Yeah, landing pages are important, but landing pages are important for that person that has really kind of done all that other stuff and is now at the pointy end of their journey. Should I go with this bike ride or that bike ride? The landing pages are critical because the person that answers every question that person's got in the amount of time they've got to have those questions, sales that you need to get. There's a job to do there. So if you think about the landscape, growing your traffic and direct booking starts at the top here with your website and your ability to drive traffic to that website. First, you've got paid search. Paid search, look, if you're an information product marketer, these are guys selling diet plans, get rich quick schemes, all of that stuff on the web. Those guys know exactly what they're doing, and they know what converts, and they know how to convert a sale, and they know every number matters. A lot of those guys don't do a lot of SEO anymore because you can't. SEO is complicated, takes a long time. At least with paid search, you spend an amount of money, you'll get a return. It just works that way. You can tell in advance what it's going to cost, what you're going to get for it. It's very predictable, and it should be the cornerstone of your plans on the web. I'm not saying SEO is not important, but because it is, but it's so. There's an Australian movie called The Castle, and it's it's all about the vibe. Well, that SEO is all about the vibe. It's so complicated, convoluted, and difficult. And I guarantee if you had 3 SEO people into your business, they all 3 would have a different story. It's really difficult. And so, if you want certainty, pay for it. It's not for most people in tourism, not that expensive. You've then got paid search, content marketing, and SEO, social media marketing. Let's talk about Facebook first. Facebook now has travel intenders as a data category in Facebook. A travel intender is someone who's been searching for travel experiences but hasn't actually bought anything online. So Facebook hasn't been able to see a purchase of that person. So technically they're still out there shopping for stuff, and you can advertise to that cohort of people with advertising on Facebook, and it's reasonably well targeted, and you can augment the data with other kinds of data. But it's really for people that really need to establish a brand or have a type of tour that needs a different kind of customer who's doesn't know what they want. That's a good place to do it.
Is that a new thing? Because I've been using Facebook ads for quite a while, and you could based on interest item, but that could mean a whole lot of things.
Yeah, you can you can still do that, but they've just introduced travel intenders as a specific data set within that Facebook in school holiday. She basically gets kids whose parents work, and they dump their kids with her for the school holiday. She shows them a good time, sends them home tired. So she struggled with the market. She was able to choose 5 postcodes, find women in those 5 postcodes who had children between 6 and 9, and she was able to advertise directly to those women, and she would fill the holidays like that every time. 3 days later, $25 worth of advertising, she was done. And I guess what I'm saying is, if you understand your customer, there's never been a better tool to do that kind of thing. How else would you do that in the past? There's no way to do it. So there's Facebook. Then there's online channel management, which we've talked about a little bit, and then there's the whole Chinese ecosystem, which is its own thing. If you advertise, so I sold a house, and I had a bunch of real estate agents in, and they were giving me the marketing budget for that sale of the house, 25 grand and 15 grand and 18 grand. And then this young Chinese real estate agent came in and he said to me, let's face it, your house is going to sell to a Chinese person, isn't it? We're in Chatswood in Sydney, it's 30% Chinese. I said, yeah, it is. He said, all I need is $500 for Weibo and I'm done. And he was right, you know. I gave him his $500 and he sold my house really well, very, very quickly. So that's its own ecosystem, and I'll just raise it because you do need, if you're targeting that market, it doesn't work like anything else. It's its own thing. And then, so you've driven traffic to your website. Then we've got to think about optimizing your conversions, actually getting someone to convert. That's about data marketing and prospecting in amongst that, 1,000 people that came to your website. What percentage of those people can I get back? What are they really interested in? What can I offer them that's going to get them to sign up or convert? It's also about email marketing, and it's about looking at your website, making sure your landing pages are better and really do answer the questions that people have when they're looking for your specific business. And then you've got the kind of boring stuff at the bottom is just, the analytics and the reporting. And look, for most of you just drown in that stuff. There's so much available, and it's so easy to get now that it kind of becomes an end in itself. And I'd encourage you to kind of simplify it back to this, am I getting traffic at what price? What's happening to that traffic? And are we getting them back once, twice, 3 times? What do my sales look like? You can really keep it really simple if you want.